Our text today is John chapter 14, starting at verse 8. And in it, the disciple Philip wants to know about Jesus' relationship with God. How close are you really, he asks, to make sure Jesus has the right credentials so he can support him. Jesus responds by saying, "Believe me, I am in the Father is me. But if you do not believe this, then believe me because of the works themselves." In other words, I don't just know God, Philip, I am God. If you don't believe that, just sit back and watch what I can do. When you see Jesus, you see God. Our Lenten theme this year is caring for creation during this time of climate crisis. And thinking of this relationship between Jesus and God can offer us some insight to find our way. When we confess in church every Sunday in the Creed that God is the creator and Jesus is the redeemer, too often our attention is glued on the Jesus part as a means of personal individual redemption, at the expense of recognizing the first part, that all of God's creation is also included in God's love and saving action and care. What difference does this make? It could and it should help convince us that doing the work of caring for creation is part of the calling of anyone who bears the name of Christ. As Lutherans, we can recognize our role as stewards of creation, called to care for the earth as God cares for us. Just last month, the new Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report was finalized, called Climate Change 2022, Impacts, Adaptation, and Vulnerability. It highlights the widespread damage that we know has arrived with the changing climate and the urgent need to adapt to these changes. It is not a new message. The report reemphasizes the dire situation our global community faces, but it also emphasizes hope. The climate we remember is gone, but we can dramatically limit the damage and reduce our risk by adapting to the new climate. And we have to do so with the well-being of the world's poor and most marginalized in mind, those who had the least to do with making this crisis and who suffer first from it. We are in a challenging and perilous time, but there is one thing we know about Jesus. Just watch what I can do, he says, as he heals, as he restores, as he rises from the dead. Just watch what I can do, he says, as he acts through us in our own day. And he calls us to hope. When Martin Luther was asked what he would do if the world were to end tomorrow, he reportedly answered, "I would plant an apple tree today." When we face the world's crisis, we do not have to despair. We have hope. We can act together.